Welcome to the Time Management Podcast with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. I'm a productivity coach, global speaker, time management author, and award-winning entrepreneur on a mission to share the 888 formula with the world and to remind you that it's your time. Leave it to me to bring you new time management tips, tricks, tools, and strategies, to introduce you to guests, research, and case studies from around the world, and to give you a simple 5-step process you can follow to uplevel your productivity, achieve your goals, and create a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. I'm so excited that you're here, so let's get started. Welcome to the podcast. It's you and me for a conversation today about my scoliosis diagnosis, age 16, and what that taught me. And this is a very special episode because this month, June, is Scoliosis Awareness Month. So I felt it was about time that I shared my story with you. Because what have you overcome that's made you who you are today? And how has it shaped the way you live and work? In this episode, I'll share my scoliosis story from my diagnosis at age 16 to 2 operations at age 19 and the daily routine that I follow to stay mobile, as well as sharing how it's influenced my career path, my life path, my health choices, and why I've kept it low-key until now. The survival need to be normal is prehistoric DNA to fit in with the tribe, to not get left behind by the people that we love and care about, to be accepted. However, the truth is that normal just doesn't exist. And in episode 30 of the podcast, we had Pasha Marlowe on, a guest, talking about neurodivergence and time. And in that episode, she was sharing some incredible statistics with us, including how traditionally 20 to 30% of people are considered to be neurodivergent. So that is based on the definition of things like ADHD, autism, and dyslexia. However, in that episode, she was sharing with us that she truly believes that the figure is actually between 70 to 80% of people could be considered neurodivergent. And that is because she is including mental health challenges and acquired differences in those figures as well. This is a leading edge conversation these days. 50% of Gen Z and 1/3 of millennials identify as neurodivergent or disabled. This is not a conversation that has ever been commonplace until now. And being normal is costing us connection. Being normal means that we are showing up to relationships, to work, to situations as a fake version of ourselves. We are being somebody that we're not. And being normal cost me my identity. For so many years, I have struggled to know who I am, what my purpose is, and what I'm doing here on the planet. Also, I do have an Open G Center for those who are my human design fans of the podcast. Obviously, that is going to be something I'm here to learn in this lifetime. However, trying to be this normal chameleon fitting in with everybody else meant that I was just so incredibly confused with who I actually was. At the age of 16, I just wanted to be like all of my friends. I wanted to be planning my A-levels. I wanted to be planning my university. I wanted to maybe be planning a trip around Europe. I didn't want to be facing a year out, 2 8-hour surgeries, and risking possibly being paralyzed, because the side effects of the operation are that 0.1% of people can actually be paralyzed after this operation. Obviously, not to mention the fact that you could have any other number of complications from operations. However, at the time when I was presented with the option of an operation or no operation, I ran the numbers, I ran the data, I did a risk assessment in my own head and decided that it was the path I was going to take. Scoliosis is a musculoskeletal condition that is characterized by an abnormal curvature in the spine. It can often appear as an S shape or a C shape and can sometimes be visible just by looking at somebody's body. However, mine was only truly visible by looking at the X-ray in the doctor's office, which was a defining moment for me at age 16 when I walked into their office, having had the X-ray taken, to see my spine on the screen behind them with this S shape rather than what you traditionally would expect to be a straight line. But it was a decision, not a diagnosis. In my mind, it would never define me and no limits would ever stop me. It was just the doctor saying, this is what's happening to your spine. This is the story I tell myself in my own mind. So on the one hand, very driven to be normal. On the other hand, I do not listen to what other people say about what could happen, how it could be, what you can do, what you can't do. I quite simply put blinkers on in my life. And I feel like this was the defining moment when I did it, because they said I wouldn't be able to play basketball ever again. And I did. They said I probably couldn't do yoga, and I do. And they told me that I was going to be in hospital for 14 days after my operation, and I was out in 10. Scoliosis affects approximately 2 to 3% of the population worldwide, and there are 4 different types of scoliosis. The type that I have is called idiopathic scoliosis. This affects 80 to 85% of people. There is no known cause, and most commonly it is noticed in adolescence. So you grow, you get taller, your spine grows, your body grows, but it doesn't all grow at the same time. An estimated 0.3 to 0.5% of people who are diagnosed with scoliosis actually undergo the spinal fusion surgery that I had. So that is fewer than 10% of people who are diagnosed with scoliosis. That other people are able to deal with it through things like physio, through things like yoga, through a variety of different approaches as well. And as technology has improved, I had my operation back in December 1998. There are so many more options available now. And in episode 26 of the podcast, we had one of my yoga teachers, Ellie Botani, on the podcast to talk about how she handles her scoliosis pain using yoga, because she has scoliosis but hasn't had the spinal fusion surgery. And in episode 20 of the podcast, we had Dr. Esther Fox on the podcast, who was talking about why movement is medicine and how we should all be making time for our mobility. Whether you've got scoliosis or anything else, your health is your wealth. This surgery corrected the curve in my spine, but it created reduced flexibility and constant muscle pain. It's something that I personally have to manage with physio-prescribed exercises, daily yoga, and more recently with insoles in my shoes. My life still requires accommodations, as do so many people's lives. But the question is, are you advocating for yourself and for your accommodations? I didn't get the grades that I needed for university, so I negotiated that place. I found out quite recently that I actually needed insoles in my shoes. So I asked for 2 extra sets, and I also have reviewed all of the shoes I wear to make sure that as much as possible, I am wearing the insoles, which has dramatically reduced the pain that I was experiencing. When I fly on planes, I ask for an extra pillow to make sure that that seat is more comfortable, or I take them with me. I also book the window seat on a plane, as leaning left causes less pain than leaning right. But you'd likely never know any of these things. And it's not something that I draw attention to. I plan, I ask quietly in a corner. Timing with these things is everything, which doesn't make it right, but it does solve the problem. So what are you needing help with? What can you advocate for yourself? Homework for this episode for you to reflect on. What have you overcome that's made you who you are today? And how has it shaped the way you live and the way you work? In the drive to be, to do, and to have more, we often underestimate our own resilience, our determination, and our motivation, which is what got us the results we have in the first place. But this week, what can you appreciate about yourself that you are not appreciating? And what areas of growth can you identify for your next steps? Because a life without goals is a recipe for helping somebody else to achieve theirs. Me personally, I am so proud of the person that I have become as a result of dealing with the situation that I faced when I was 16. I'm also grateful for the support of my friends and family who did all sorts of things that they're reminding me of now, including my father, who told me that he came into the hospital and used to wash my hair in the bed. It's so funny how we forget certain things. But in between the two operations, I was actually temporarily paralyzed in the bed insofar as I wasn't allowed to move while my spine was adjusting to the titanium rods that they had screwed into my spine. And I feel like in many ways, I have blanked out that what people would call trauma with a small t in order to deal with it, in order to deal with life. So what are you not appreciating? Who are you not appreciating? There might be people in your lives who have done some incredible things for you over the years, but you are just remembering what they're doing right here, right now. You are forgetting what has got you here and how they helped you to get here. Because it's teamwork that makes the dreams work. None of us are doing this on our own. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one as your coach, if you would like to book me to speak at an event, to deliver a training for you or for your team, all the links are in the show notes. If you'd like to buy a copy of my book, the links are in the show notes. You can buy it on our website, successbydesigntraining.com. You can also find it on Amazon worldwide. And a great place to start would be by downloading the free chapter of my book, which is also in the show notes as well, because how you are spending your time is creating the life that you have right now. If you're spending your time in pain, but you don't need to, if you're spending your time focusing on the here and now and the things that people are doing right now, but you're forgetting what got you here, it's your life, it's your time. And in those moments when I thought that my life was over, when I had my stroke in February 2012, there's many episodes where I talk about it here on the podcast. The message that I was given to share with me, with you, with us, is that it's our time. The clock is ticking. We are not going to get a second chance at this life. We have to make the most of it right here, right now. If you have any questions or want to reach out and let me know what this episode has brought up for you, you can also email me at enquiries@successbydesigntraining.com. Until next time, my friend, remember, stay safe, stay well, and it is your time. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to let me know by leaving a review so I can keep the good stuff coming. Come and say hi on Instagram at Success by Design Training, or visit my website, successbydesigntraining.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Abigail Barnes. Until next time, don't forget, you are amazing and it's your time.